So, Deep Blue Sea. But that's not the only film you have going on. You have so many. I can't keep up with everything that you're doing.
Well, Deep Blue Sea is the only lead role. 360 and Page 8 are ensemble pieces. They were not very big time commitments.
This was a very big time commitment. This was a serious role.
A serious role which we actually shot in, I think it was 6 weeks. We didn't have very much money. It's very low budget. It was like 20-something days it was shot in.
It's all on you. It's like a two-hander. It's just the two of you and then the husband. And you start out, the very opening scene is about you committing suicide. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't get much lighter from there.
Yeah.
How was that to prepare for and actually do? I mean, for you?
Well, I guess, yeah, you're right. It's the day in the life of... It's one day in the life of one woman, and she starts the day by deciding to kill herself, and then she doesn't... It's unsuccessful, and then the rest of the film is kind of flashbacks of her remembering her relationship with her husband and with her lover, and then the lover returns, and it happens in one day, one night, and then the next morning they split up. It's about the end of a relationship. How did I prepare? Was that your question?
Yeah.
How did I prepare?
Well, but also just enduring 6 weeks of that mindset is what always strikes me in a situation like this. You're a professional. Yeah. You know what you're doing. But you have to take yourself to, especially in this movie, this woman. Yeah. It's not only a place emotionally, it's also, I'm going to ask you, a place in a period of time. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if you think that the same woman would be the same way now. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's almost a question of what women's dependency on men can be, mm-hmm. Emotionally.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't really see it as being gender specific or period specific, even though of course it's set in the 1950s, and what you get from that was a time of greater social restraint and less social ability and less, people were more contained. So it's good for drama, because if you have repression and you have very strong emotion, you have something to kind of explode against. But for me, it's a story about love. It's about the complete and total irrationality of love, and it's not the story for me in the way that it's written and the way that I understood it, the way Ratkin wrote it, the way Terrence Davies understood it. It's not about a choice. It's not about, shall I choose to be in love with this person or not? It's about someone who's so consumed by love, you could call it madness if you like. I personally don't think it is madness, but that they do not have a choice. And it's kind of humiliating, and maybe some people might think she's degrading herself in some way and losing her self-respect, and those are all kind of like pejorative things, but I don't really see it like that. I don't judge her in any way. I think she's someone who is completely, totally and utterly consumed by love, and it's the kind of triumph of emotion and love and heart and soul over propriety and rationality and logic and reason and what you're meant to do and what you're supposed to do. And to me, that's what it's about, kind of a big but small subject.
I guess the reason I asked the question about the period is that she's trapped by the constraints of society, as you say, in the marriage, the proper marriage, the high society, the judge, and she can't stay there, obviously. It is impossible for her. Is this man her escape, and then it's another prison?
I don't know. Ratkin didn't write a sequel, so I don't know, but I think she's truly in love with Tom Hiddleston's character. He's just not willing to be with her. I can't really answer that. I know what you mean, but...
Well, the class debate between them, I mean, the distinctions between them, they get in the way.
Yeah, it doesn't work out. So yeah, hopefully, I hope she'll meet somebody else and who loves her in the way that she loves them in the future. Yeah.
But the society would have been ostracizing her from now on.
She doesn't care about that. She doesn't care about that. Yeah. Not at all. He just doesn't really love her in the way that she loves him, and he's not up to it. He's not up to her. She's too much. He doesn't really love her, I don't think. Does he?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think though it's still, I think it's set in the 50s, but I think it's still very relevant today about human emotion and about the things we think we're supposed to do as people, as women, as, we're supposed to do this, X, Y, Z, there are all sorts of things we're supposed to do, and I think it's still quite radical even now.
I'm sure that there are women who are as consumed and obsessed, but I think the society gives them more options.
Of course, there are many more options now than there were pre-feminist 1950s. Many, many more. So I think it makes for kind of it makes it more dramatic in a way to have it set there.
Yeah. And I think I think that when you have more, I mean, part of the problems with romance in today's contemporary world is that there are fewer impediments to it, and so it's often more effective to go into the past where those constraints really did exist.
Absolutely, like people say, Romeo and Juliet, if they'd had cell phones, that the
it's
messages, all over. The messages wouldn't have got mixed up, and it would have all been fine. So impediments really help for love stories. Yeah, really help.
And so does Terrence Davies. I mean, talk about working with him. This is an unusual director of unusual, depth.
Yeah, Terrence Davies is very. He's a charmer. He's very passionate, very unafraid of showing his passions and his emotions, and I think tonally the movie is him. I think probably it's how he feels in the world. He feels very, very, very strong and consuming passions, and he's dramatic. He's a very, very dramatic person, and he goes from incredible highs to incredible lows, and I think we're kind of inside his emotional life in this film.
It feels like you and Tom Hiddleston are really doing the quick, tennis game back and forth. I mean, just extremely adept and intense and even. And he's a relative newcomer, but better known in Britain, and obviously making his way now.
Well, at the premiere last night, there were thousands of screaming girls because
of Thor.
Because of Thor, they were like, ah! I was like, oh my goodness! It's like, he's a great big, he's an action star. Yeah.
But in England, he's more of a theater actor, is he not?
Yeah. He's done a lot of theatre. He's wonderful. He's a wonderful tennis partner, kind of as you say, is really strong and deep and full and lovely. Yeah, really lovely to work with.
And easy to be in love with, I imagine.
Yeah, it's very good.
So 360, which I have not yet seen, is more of an ensemble roundelay, working with Peter Morgan, working with the great Fernanda Ross.
Yeah.
Can you make some distinctions between what it was like working on that with him? What kind of a different direction it would be?
Night and day. Yeah. Fernando is all a lot of handheld camera, which Terence makes him feel completely sick. I mean, physically nauseous. I don't know if you were there last night. He was actually talking about how it's. I think Fernando Ross has got very has his own very precise film grammar, but it's very different to Terence's. And Fernando's all about. I've worked with him twice now, and both times it feels more like I'm part of a documentary. Yeah, it feels like a kind of a. Being part of a documentary, there's a little camera somewhere, a bit like your flip camera, and maybe a little light somewhere. But it's very kind of low tech. It's just all about the people that are there. I always feels like kind of fly on the wall or something. Documentary. I love working with Fernando. He just watches, and he doesn't care if you improvise, change the lines, say whatever you like. Terence is very important that things stay contained and faithful to the. He's not into improvisation, Terrence Davies, but Fernando's is very free. It's very spontaneous. It's seemingly very unstructured, but I think he actually has his own structure that's there. But you don't feel it as an actor.
So with Davies, it's going to be much more about the lines as written and the camera as stayed and positioned.
Yes, if the camera moves, it's got to be for a really good reason. And in Terence Davies' film, building a dolly is, maybe it will happen. It has to be, he does move the camera, but not a lot.
So my other question for you is more of a career choice kind of.
Shall I close this because there's a lot of noise coming through? Does that bother you?
I'm aware of it. Yeah, thank you.
Shh.
Actresses make the best directors, always. Okay. Yeah. So you're making really cool career choices, and some of them, I know you made a face. Some of them are brave ones. They don't always become the most commercial films.
Sure.
The Whisperer was a real choice that you made because you presumably care deeply about the material.
Yeah, the Whistleblower, I just was really inspired by the story of this. I'm a real sucker for stories about, kind of the ordinary woman doing an extraordinary thing. Probably Silkwood is one of my favourite movies of all time. Norma Ray, I love those movies. And, it's a nod to that, and it's very different. And nowadays, what was fascinating to me about something like Silkwood and Norma Ray is that they're really character studies. And Silkwood, the plot doesn't begin until nearly over halfway through.
I'm not sure you could get that movie made today.
Oh no, there's no way. I mean, I had to fight to get it's like 3 minutes of character at the beginning of the film, which in Nebraska before the thriller begins. No, it's all about thriller. Character gets elbowed out, but
genre triumphs overall.
Yeah. It's the strangest thing. Do you think people wouldn't want to see a character study?
Why is The Help doing business?
Oh, I haven't seen it. Oh, it's great. Okay, I haven't seen it.
It's about, I think there's a great hunger, actually. I think everybody has to fight the good fight against the studio establishment, even the independent establishment that's demanding, this person sells in France, and therefore we must cast this person. I mean, there are a lot of factors, as you know, combining to make movies worse than they need to be.
Yeah.
That's why it's a miracle when an art film gets made.
It is.
At a high quality.
It's a small miracle, I agree.
It's actors like you demanding them and insisting on helping to get them made. That's why I say fight.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It is a fight.
Because you need the roles.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah.